We have, over the years, sort of developed a very simple checklist as far as meetings go. And whenever we have a meeting set up, we always say, who owns the meeting? Because a lot of times meetings get set up and then people walk into a room and nobody knows what's supposed to happen at that meeting. So who owns the meeting? The person who calls it in our organization owns the meeting. And what that means is they're responsible for determining how you need to prepare for that meeting. They need to put together the agenda. They need to make sure the people who are going to be participating in that meeting have what they need in order to prepare for that meeting. The second thing we always talk about is how long is that meeting going to last? I've been in endless meetings and it's not productive and it's also not respectful. So how long is this meeting going to last? And then the third sort of item on the checklist is what do we need to accomplish at the end of that meeting? What are the decisions that have to be made? The interesting thing with marketing and branding is that the methods and the tools and the tactics for communicating with an audience, constituent group, stakeholders, consumers, has gotten increasingly technology-driven and more complex. That technology has also allowed us to very specifically target those audiences. And we've gotten very focused on sort of the way we're going to do something. I think as that becomes more and more complex over the next 5 years, that the actual branding becomes even more important. It becomes more essential. It's a much more fundamental thing than, you know, how you're going to do your social media strategy or how you're going to do your online advertising. It's a very basic thing. And I think we kind of get lost. We get lost in the way to do things versus what we're going to do, what we're going to say. I've had companies come to us, very large companies, who hire us to just tell them how to say something. What do we need to say and how do we need to say them? I had a nonprofit, an executive director of a nonprofit come to me and say, you know, I have all these people on my board, these really big companies, some of them technology companies, and they're offering to do this for me and that for me. She goes, I don't know what to say. Not I don't know what to say to them, but I don't know what to say about us. You know, and so I think what it does is the more complex all of those things become, the more important it becomes to go through a process of who are we, what do we do, why does it matter, and then how do we communicate that. I think if you are really a leader, you're always trying to improve. Otherwise, you're just a business owner or you're just a boss or, you know, whatever that might be. I think if you're a leader, you're always looking for ways to improve. Now, I don't necessarily always look for those ways to improve in a business context or in a business environment. You know, I'm always sort of on the lookout for inspiration. I'm always on the lookout for a nugget of wisdom. I'm always, you know, looking for a split second of insight that's going to make me look at my work a little differently, make me look at my clients a little differently, give me another way to engage my employees, whatever it might be. But that inspiration or that wisdom or that insight could just as easily come from reading a novel, as watching a documentary, as reading, you know, the front page of the New York Times. So I think it's just about being open to different sources of information. You never know where that experience is going to come from and where that spark is going to come from.